Oklahoma is very competent. I love Oklahoma. 77 out of 77 districts. And that's never been done before. I did it 3 times. I mean, think of it, 3 times. Never been done. Ronald Reagan had the record, 56 out of 77. I got 77 out of 77. So you have to love a place like that. I love Oklahoma.
It's no secret that Oklahoma is firmly in the hands of the Republican Party right now. Tonight, we're going in depth on why you actually may be seeing more Democratic candidates, not just holding events in your town, but some of them will also be knocking on your door in what is usually considered to be traditionally red districts here in Oklahoma. Since 2011, the Republican Party has held on and even grew into a supermajority in both the state House and state Senate, all while holding on to the governor's mansion and many state offices. Before 2011, Democrats either had total control or at times shared control of the legislature and executive branches with Republicans. The last 14 years at the state capitol in Oklahoma have actually been unique when compared to the rest of state political history. Something to also keep in mind, the Democratic Party in Oklahoma has not in many cases competed in the general election in some critical seats in recent years. At times, the main battle has actually been kept to the Republican primary, and the winner of that sometimes faces a Libertarian or an Independent or no one at all. Well aware that she and her party have an uphill climb ahead of them next year when many state offices are open and their current office holder is term limited, is House Minority Leader Democratic State Representative Cyndi Munson. Munson is also running for governor herself. I caught up with her at the state Democratic convention in Tulsa over the weekend and asked her how they plan to make inroads in places where the Democratic Party hasn't really campaigned recently or even stood a chance electorally in the past. We are not cutting up this interview into sound bites. Here is Leader Munson in full saying it's time the Democrats need to go into cities like Broken Arrow and other suburbs. Obviously, this is a big weekend for Democrats. You are looking forward to 2026. But at the same time, Donald Trump won every county in this state. How much work do you think you have ahead of you?
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of work anytime you run for office and you're trying to earn the vote of the people you want to represent. But I have been traveling the state of Oklahoma. I've been in urban communities, rural communities, talking about the issues that are most important to them. And what we're talking about is what Oklahomans are facing right now. They're talking about public education, health care, our economy. And they're really frustrated with those in Washington who are threatening to cut important programs like Medicaid and SNAP that they know are so important to everyday Oklahomans. And so right now, the conversations I'm having as I travel the state is what's happening in Oklahoma, who's the next leader going to be, and what folks want their next governor to focus on.
We saw huge crowds with the No Kings protest. Does that show there's an appetite there, and do you hone in on that energy?
Yeah, those rallies and protests across the state tell us that there are people who are generally frustrated with the way that government is not working for them. And like I said, I'm going in places where folks may not generally think Democrats will show up, and they are showing up in large groups, coming and wanting to introduce themselves and tell me what's on their mind and meet me as a candidate. And I'm very encouraged by it. I'm truly moved by the number of people who have said, I am inspired by you doing the hard work that's necessary to earn my vote, and I want to tell you about the things that I care about. And so it's keeping me moving forward. We're building a lot of momentum, and it's very exciting right now.
I know we've talked in the past. Last election, you all did not lose any seats. How do you gain seats now? How do you get out of super minority status?
Yeah, we keep working like we are now, staying in front of Oklahomans. And again, the thing that engages people and keeps them motivated to be engaged in the democratic process is by talking about the things that they care about. And so often you see politicians in Oklahoma, but across the country, who want to use rhetoric, or they pander to certain issues to keep us divided. But people are tired of that. They want to be able to know what leaders are out there that are going to improve our schools, who are going to help us make ends meet, who is out there talking about the everyday issues and actually understands what it is that I'm going through. I think as somebody who grew up having to work really hard to get through my education, to work, to be in the position that I'm in today, I don't come from wealth. I don't have a family in politics. I think people see and know that I really understand what they're going through every day, and that's keeping them excited and motivated about this process this year.
Tulsa is the blueberry and the tomato soup. How do you expand that base into Broken Arrow, where a lot of them are proudly Republican.
Yeah. Again, it's all about being in front of people and making sure that I'm hearing them and that they see that I value them and that I'm listening to them. And so it's going to take a lot of work. I do not doubt that. And I want people to know that I understand it and I'm willing to do the work. But there are people all across the state in every community who are ready for change, quite frankly, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. And like I said, they're looking for a leader who understands that, who's authentic when it comes to those issues, and I believe I'm that person.
Final question. I know we're running out of time, but I guess, what does the next year to year and a half look like for you? Do you go into the rural communities still? And was there planning here on this important weekend to expand out of the cities?
Yeah, the next year and a half is all about traveling and being on the ground and talking to people. In fact, I not only am going to events and parades and, where there are big groups of people, I'm actually showing up on people's doorsteps. I am knocking on doors. I was just in Tulsa last weekend for the Juneteenth celebration, but right before I knocked doors in that area, and so I'll continue to do that. And same thing here today. While we are here at the state convention, I've been out talking to people in this area, and it's been very encouraging, and I'm going to keep doing that.
Leader Munson, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for always asking the right questions and having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
We have interviewed now 4 gubernatorial candidates in some capacity about the campaign ahead of them. You can find those in-depth and unedited interviews on the Fox 23 YouTube page to help you compare the candidates for yourself. We are in the process of getting a more in-depth interview here in studio with Leader Munson, as well as former State Senator Jake Merrick and others who will soon announce as well.